What's up guys, welcome back to the Piston Show. I'm Casey Dillon and today we're going to be talking about the BYD M6. Introduced to Malaysians towards the end of 2024, the M6 is available in two different variants, standard and this, the extended version. This goes further, is slightly more powerful and it charges slightly quicker. It costs 123,000 ringgit, 123,800 ringgit to be exact. But I hear that if you go to a showroom and speak to the sales assistant nicely, they'll probably give you a better package than what is listed on the websites. But besides that, I really like the M6 because it reminds me of a time where MPVs such as this were quite prevalent. Now, MPVs of this size are actually quite nice to live with because they're not all that big, which makes it easier to park, particularly around shopping malls and such, and they're quite spacious in the inside as well. So I've been quite blown away by the BYD M6. In fact, I didn't expect it to be this good. I quite like it. But what do I like about it? Stick around and I'll tell you more. So as I was saying, in terms of design, it's a typical MPV, which is not a bad thing. Up front over here, you do not get a frunk. However, there are aftermarket accessories that actually let you install a frunk. However, I've heard that in terms of waterproofing, it may not be that good. So if you're going to go for the aftermarket accessory, do your research. Besides that, you get LED lights all around. In fact, you get 17-inch wheels, you get blind spot monitoring, which is part of the ADAS safety suite, which you only get with the extended range, and you also get roof rails as well as a panoramic roof with a shade. I'll tell you more about the interior later, but now let's go to the back. So as far as the rear is concerned, I think it's quite a handsome looking car. I really like the fact that BYD has now chosen to use these acronyms, the branding, instead of the previous build your dreams, which we used to see with the first generation Atto 3s and such. And with the extended version, basically the flagship variant, you also get a powered tailgate, which you do not get with the standard version. However, as you can see, when the third row seats are in place, you do not get a lot of storage space. Good enough for a laptop bag, your charging cables and such. But what's underneath it? Let me just put this away. So with this, you don't just some minor storage spots over here. And with the third row seats, as I was saying, you don't get a lot of space when they are in place. But when they're folded, now this, there you go. So now you get some really usable boot space over here, over 500 liters to be exact. That gives it a level of practicality that a lot of other cars do not have. Now the underpinnings of the M6 is basically the same as the Atto 3, but with this amount of space, living space, I feel that this is probably a little bit more practical when it comes to moving more people, particularly the family. Now, in terms of the interior, now this is a place that I really like because it doesn't try too hard to be overly advanced, overly technologically advanced. It gives you a very nice balance of technology as well as the analog lifestyle. I'm talking about the instrument cluster. So you get analog dials that are flanking a digital cluster over here, the digital meter. So this is basically how things used to be, and I quite like it because it's very straightforward stuff. So you get in here and it's just easy to get used to the interior of the M6. The learning curve of this car is quite gradual. It's easy to get comfortable in here in terms of sitting in the car and in terms of learning how everything works. Now, you also get a large panoramic roof, which is, as I said, only available for the extended range. You get some really comfortable seats, which are ventilated. The front passenger and driver seats are electronically adjustable, which is only for the extended range. And besides that, you also get a charge pad over here, a lot of storage spots. And I really like this slot over here, which is good enough for your phone. And other than that, I believe this is just a simple, straightforward machine. And in typical BYD fashion, this the infotainment cluster rotates. So I have
rotating the screen.
Yeah. Or you could do it with a voice command as well. Hi BYD, rotate the screen.
Okay, rotating the screen.
So this is something that it's quite fun. I have a lot of fun with my kid over here. I tell him that it's magic. Put my hand over here and he doesn't see that I'm pressing the button. So I just tell him that it's quite magic. And talking about the voice commands, you can actually do a lot more than just rotate the screen. You can also do stuff like this. Hi BYD. Hi BYD. Close the sunshade. Stuff like that. So makes life easier. And you can also say stuff like this. Hi BYD. Hi BYD. I'm feeling cold.
All right, the temperature is going up by 1 degree.
So it's easy to live with this car. And you also get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I believe Android Auto is wired, if I'm not mistaken. You get USB ports over here, Type A, Type C USB ports. And it's essentially just as I've said earlier, a very straightforward car. In terms of functions, you get adaptive cruise control, which makes life easier, particularly when you're going long distances. And other than that, you can also swivel the screen by using this button, and you can also turn off a lot of the key controls, such as ADAS, intelligent cruise control is here, driving lane support system. This is always very annoying, right? So you can turn it off. And then active safety, everything is listed over here. Easy to start to live with. This is your around view monitor, basically your 360 camera. Now this is all the rage these days. Makes parking and living with the car a lot easier. This is your energy mode, your regenerative braking, your range mode and such. Vehicle. So in terms of the car, in terms of how you interact and live with the car, it's just straightforward. That's the only way that I can put it. It's a really straightforward car. You get in here and you can adapt to it as you would a regular car, a regular internal combustion engined car. So that's something that I like, because the thing about some EVs is that the learning curve can be quite steep. In here, you just get in, it's easy to get comfortable with, it's easy to live with, and what more could you want? You also get a bunch of safety systems such as blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, and everything that you could want to go about your daily business. I really can't seem to fault this car, but it gets better in the back seats. Before that though, I would just like to point out that the other thing that I find very easy about this car is just how visible everything is, because you get a lot of big glass everywhere, even this triangle over here. So there are no blind spots, which means that everything around you is visible. And on top of that, you also get blind spot monitoring. So like today is a rainy day, and you get a lot of water that is thrown up by other cars, so visibility is a little bit low. But you have all these technologies, you have ample of glass, which makes it easy to look forward and look around you. Now we go to the back. As I've said earlier, I find it hard to fault the car. And again, from the back over here, it might seem like a little bit cramped, but I can assure you that I'm really comfortable. It's a nice sitting position. I'm quite alright, and if you think that I'm sitting a little bit upright, you'll be right. But then again, I can recline the seats, and now I'm really truly comfortable. I also have my own air conditioning controls over here. And not only that, but the air conditioning vents are placed at the top over here, which is where they truly should be, because you want cold air blowing to your face rather than down here to your knee. Besides that, you get Type A, Type C USB ports, you get ISOFIX mounts, top tethering mounts, and the works. And on top of that, the third row passengers get their own air conditioning vents at the top over here as well. So you get cool air blowing all around. Fantastic. As I've said earlier, I'm finding it difficult to fault the M6. Usually in a review, I will try to tell you the good and the bad. But so far for the M6, it's all good. Now, we take it for a drive. You know what I like about driving the BYD M6? Is that it's such a straightforward, fuss-free experience. But you might be wondering, what do I mean by fuss? You know, the thing about electric cars is sometimes they tend to be overly complicated. You get a lot of information that you probably do not know what to do with all of that info. So what I like about and what I mean by this fuss-free experience is that, such as, for example, this analog dials up here in this instrument cluster, is just how things used to be. I really appreciate this, because the instrument clusters, particularly for modern EVs, is that it tends to be overly complicated. It tends to give you too much information. All you want is how fast the car is going, how far it can go, your state of charge for the battery, and perhaps a little bit of other information when the safety systems are turned on and such like. But besides that, do you really need that much information? So that's what I mean by a fuss-free experience. The learning curve to adopting an EV lifestyle is very easy with the BYD M6. You can just get in here and drive it as you would a regular car. And that is what I mean by a fuss-free experience. It's a very straightforward MPV. What else could you want? I mean, it has everything. And it drives like a regular MPV as well. It drives like a regular car, in fact, a regular car with an internal combustion engine. And even though BYD says that it has a NEDC range of over 500 kilometers, but the WLTP range is slightly over 450 kilometers. And guess what? I actually saw that figure, 450 kilometers on the range indicator. Fantastic. This is good, because more often than not, every time you get into a car, very seldom will you see the claimed range. So the fact that you actually get it with this M6 is something to be appreciative of. I'm sure I can tell you that I truly appreciate this. However, the one thing that you should watch out for is the torque surge. This is something that might catch you off guard. So, see? Immediately there was a wheel spin. As soon as I flexed my right foot, I put down my right foot, the front wheels light up. So this is something to watch out for, particularly on rainy days like today. So this, I guess you'll get used to it lah. Or you could just select to drive it in eco mode. Eco mode just slows things down a little bit. It gives you additional range and such. And more importantly, it softens or desensitizes the accelerator pedal. So that's how you deal with, that torque surge that I was talking about. And as I'm sure you probably know, that the thing with electric vehicles is not about producing power, it's about managing power. So you always have to sort of feather the throttle. So your driving style may need to change a little bit. So you don't really need to get on the pedal and then let go, get on the pedal and again let go. You'll get used to it. So that's the only thing that you need to look out for. Besides that, it's brilliant. The sitting position is fantastic. I really like the fact that you get ventilated seats up front and electronically adjustable front passenger seat as well. All for about 120k. The BYD M6, I mean, I've been seeing a lot of them on the road, and now I understand why, because it's a truly nice car. So before I actually, shot this video, I was actually doing my research, checking out the BYD M6 owners group on Facebook and such, reading the forums, and every owner that spends his hard-earned money on a BYD M6, everybody loves it. And I can understand why. So I saw this guy with his 6 kids in the M6.
Congestion ahead.
Yeah, and that's the other thing it tells you. It tells you about all of the situations up ahead, whether you request for it or not. It tells you what's going on up ahead. So whether that's something that you can live with or not, I'm sure you can turn it off. I haven't bothered turning it off because sometimes all this info makes sense lah. So anyway, back to the fact that the M6 is a great family car. So this is a guy with his 6 kids in the car, and they were going for a drive, I think, to Balik Kampung Kelantan or something, and it was just as if it was a regular MPV. That, my friends, is the beauty of the M6, because you can truly just approach this as you would a regular MPV. So even the driving experience, just being in here, being surrounded by all this glass and all, just reminds me of previous generation MPVs that are no longer available on the Malaysian market. I'm talking about things like the Ford S-Max, which, by the way, was a really nice MPV. Then you have the Volkswagen, I think it was the Cross Touran or Touran. That was a really nice MPV as well. And then there was a Toyota model with the sliding doors. I can't remember what it was called. So these are all small MPVs, small people movers that made a lot of sense because they drive like a regular car, they don't cost a lot, and they have all the space that you would want in a car. And the BYD M6 checks all these boxes as well. So in that sense, if you're looking for a car for your wife or even for yourself, to go about your daily business, send the kids to school, pick them up, send them tuition, go for, tennis class, badminton class, play some sports, you think that the car will get dirty, you need space for all of the equipment, then it checks all those boxes. And it has the ADAS safety systems just for the extended range the extended model, not for the standard model, which I mean the difference in price between the two is not much, so always go for the extended range. That's the thing about EVs. You want to buy an EV that will take you the furthest possible distance. Yeah, so that's why this extended range makes a lot of sense. I also like the fact that it comes with a panoramic roof with a shade. A shade is important, right? So that's brilliant, particularly on overcast days like this shade makes a lot of sense. Or rather, this panoramic roof makes a lot of sense. So that's the driving experience of the BYD M6. Of course, I need to say that you do not get original pure leather in here. You get Fox leather and basically leather look-alike. That's what it means. But I don't see a problem with that. I genuinely don't see a problem with that, particularly for this price point. It's big, it's comfortable, it's spacious, it drives well, it goes really far. It comes with all the safety systems. And if you're looking for a car to spend a lot of time with your kids in, it also comes with a PM 2.5 air filter. Very important these days when you get all sorts of things in the air. I'm a father as well, and just the tiniest thing will get my kids sick, and it's just it's absolute haywire when they get sick, right? If you're a dad, I'm sure you would concur that when your kids get sick, man. Anyway, BYD M6, fantastic driving experience. So I usually try to be very fair in all of my reviews by telling you the good and the bad about all cars. But I'm finding it difficult to fault the M6. It seems to do everything right. As I've said, the only thing that you probably need to watch out for is the torque surge, which lights up the front wheels. But then again, that's just a matter of adapting your driving style. This is a car that will charge up in just under 40 minutes from 30 to 80%. It takes 7 kilowatts of AC charging and it'll take you over just about 450 kilometers on a single charge, which means you can probably go about your entire week by charging this car just once or twice in a week. And that's just fantastic. In terms of spaciousness, you have everything. Quality feels decent as well. You're not really paying a premium for this, and the M6 delivers just as you would expect it to be. I really like the M6, as I've said at the starting of this video. As a family car, I think it checks all the boxes. In fact, I've been taking my kid around in this car. I latched on the baby seat and such, and it's just such a practical car to live with. In that sense, I think the M6 has it all. What more could you want? Let me know in the comment section below.